Welcome to another episode of Ear to the Streets podcast with myself, T Dot. As always, got a special guest with me. I don't even want to try and give you a title because it's a bit mad, but I'm gonna let you introduce yourself because obviously the platform's yours in it. So introduce yourself to the listeners, man. Let them know who you are.
My name's Genesis Elijah. I'm a UK artist, producer, rapper, all that good stuff, man.
Yeah, you do it all, man. You do it all.
A lot. to be fair, man, it's that Jay-Z line, you can't fit this hustle inside of a rapper, innit? Like,
literally is that.
A lot of stuff that I do. So yeah.
But what I like to do on here is take it all the way back to the very beginning, to the start. So you grew up in Brixton. Moved to Luton and then sort of ended up in Watford. And what was it like growing up, the childhood, getting into music? What was your first sort of moments, I suppose, of thinking, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to be a UK artist, rapper. I want to be in music.
I think the first time I was like, music is what I'm going to do was when I first heard Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted. So I think I was 9. And just listening to that over and over. Like, I think I got like a Walkman from for Christmas or something, and I was just playing that. I used to play that over till the batteries died, and that I think that was the kind of the point where I was just like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, or this is, you know what? I don't think it was this is what I'm going to do. I think it was, oh, this is what the cool adults do. Cool, so that's what I'll be doing, and there wasn't even really much thought other than that. Just like, all right, cool. This is where if that's what cool adults do, that's what I'm gonna do. And then from there, it's always been like a kind of like a foundation of everything else I've done in life. So that's been like the common thread from, I'd say, 9 years old till now.
Because obviously growing up in London, I'm from Birmingham. I live in Liverpool now, so it's a bit different. But growing up in London at that time as well, because obviously the environments are different now. But obviously growing up then, it must have been, I'm not saying difficult, but it must have been challenging in some ways to obviously kind of get away from the stigma of what, especially South London at that time as well was quite, the knife, gun crime, all that stuff.
Yeah.
How did you make sure you stayed away from that? Or
I really did it, man. like I think
I hear you, man.
to me though, like, so a lot of that stuff, like the environment is the environment, so that's what you're just surrounded by. So to be honest, yeah, there's a lot of things, and I get this now because I work with young people now. There's a lot of things that you don't even really see as wrong until someone from the outside goes, yeah, that ain't cool, like you probably shouldn't be doing that, or you start seeing the consequences of actions, and then you're like, all right, yo, this is a bit mad. So as far as like that side of life, I've never been like involved in that way, like deep. I've never been deep into it, but it's always just been around me. So it's never been something that I consciously was decided, yeah, I don't want to do that. I think the first time I consciously understood that, oh, you know what, there's another way to be like, I don't know how to put it, man, like, because I kind of feel like we have this idea of like of what street cred is, right? And or what it means to be just like a man out here, you know what I mean, right? So to me, that was always just, you have to be hard, innit? Like, you got to be hard. And I think the first, and a lot of bad things come with that. So a lot of things, like, you know what I mean, the fighting, again, that starts in school. Who's the hardest? Like, who's the hardest in the year? Like, that starts from school, and a lot of things come with that, right? So it wasn't until really, like, I heard Dead Prez. So when Dead Prez, Let's Get Free, when that dropped, yeah, that was like, oh, these men are G, but they're doing the right thing. Like, they're fighting for the right thing. And that was where it kind of changed. And then you kind of have a little bit more perspective on the things that you thought were cool. So you have a much better idea of like gang violence. Because before, you just see gang violence as, yo, them man over there, us over here, it's back and forth, innit? But then when you start looking at it from a wider perspective, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Again, we're crabs in the barrel, but like, who put us in the barrel in the first place?
Precisely, man.
Right. And it wasn't until I really started digging into what Dead Prez were saying, and then that kind of led me down the path of reading about Malcolm, reading about just different activists, and kind of having that idea, and that's where like the I guess the conscious side of hip hop comes into things, where you start really going into like there's different sides of this thing we call music. There's different things that we can promote. And for years that was my space. For years it was Genesis Elijah, the conscious rapper, and I wasn't even like at a time that title was cool for me. I was like, yeah, cool, call me a conscious rapper, because to me that differentiated me from the guys that were talking the road stuff, the gangster stuff. And regardless of what I was doing in my life, like whether my life was involved in madness, to me it was like, yeah, I might be involved in madness, but that's not what I want to represent, and that's not who I am or who I want to be. So yeah, Dead Prez was like the beginning of that, because that's when that's when I grew my dreads the first time. That's like
yeah.
So I was like, oh, that, you know what I mean? Before that, it was all Platts and Cane Roll and all that business, yeah. But from when Dead Prez dropped, it was like it changed everything about. I got a Dead Prez tattoo, man. It changed everything about like who I was. The image, it reframed, man. It reframed it. It's like now you can be a strong black man talking about righteousness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. But when did you realize that you wanted to? Because I think I've listened to interviews in the past where you've said it was around sort of 10, 11 that you realized this is what I want to do. And obviously, growing up, when you try and tell like your parents or something, I remember trying to tell my mum like I want to be a footballer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she was like, stop being stupid. You know, like it's not going to happen, sort of thing. And when did you realize, or how did you go about, obviously 10, 11, 12, peak years in sort of school age? When did you decide, right, this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to start, because obviously you're writing, even now you can tell, obviously you was writing from early, from when you was a kid. So when did you decide that this is what I'm doing? Was it 10, 11?
I think, yeah. So like probably about 11. I think I was 11. My brother was 10. And that would have been, wasn't until I moved to Luton. So it might have been a bit later than that, to be fair, when I really got serious, but it would have been like first year of high school. So year 7 was when I was writing. That was when I was writing every day. Stealing books from school to
I've
writing.
done that
Yeah, man.
I've done it, man.
So
you lost the English book. What is it?
Yeah. So like those were the times where I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And really just kind of like, it's one of them things, man, where you start understanding what these other guys are doing. So you start seeing like, you're listening to Snoop, but you don't really understand how he's doing what he's doing until you start doing it yourself. You start writing your rhymes and you're like, oh yeah, okay. You start understanding metaphors and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like, to be fair, a lot of that stuff, it was learning by just watching and listening and not understanding what they were doing. I didn't know it was called a metaphor. I didn't know what simile was. I didn't know all that kind of stuff. Even to this day, there's bare stuff that people are like, have like fancy words for, and I'm just like, nah, just do it, innit? I don't know what you're talking about. And I think that was a big part of it, just being able to immerse yourself in the craft and just figuring out like, how do you rhyme? How many bars do you rhyme? How many words do you rhyme? What about if I rhyme 2 words the same rather than just 1 word the same? And now they call it multisyllabic, but back then I didn't. You know what I mean? I was just like, how many words can I rhyme to do that? You start listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony, you're like, wait, wow, they're rapping in triplets. How do I get that sound? Like, how do you deal with that? You know what I mean? So I'd say like, for the majority of my formative years, my young years, was really just trying to figure out how they do what they're doing, and how can I make myself fit into that. Like, you know what I mean? How do I do what they do, then bring it into my way of doing things? And that's how I do it now. That's literally the way I do music to this day. I'll listen to, it could be whatever, it could be drill, right? So the first time, I don't know, 2014 or whatever, first time I heard drill, I'm like, raw.
Yeah.
These men are coming different with it, yeah? Then it's like, all right, wait a minute. What patterns are they using? And then just seeing copying their patterns and then going, you know what? If I did my pattern this way, then that's how I, you know what I mean? And just kind of figuring out how to do it yourself. And that's what it was. So it was along with like learning who I am. Obviously, you're a young adult, so learning who I am as a person, and then kind of marrying that with the skill and trying to bring that together. And yeah, to this day, it's always been the same. My parents weren't. I never told my parents, "Yeah, I want to be a rapper." Like that would have been.
You wouldn't be sitting here today, man.
Yeah, that would have been a quick beating. Like I tell you what though, my mum one time, man, I was at my cousin's house or something for away for a little while, and I would hide my rap books and like under my
Done it,
pillow
man.
and stuff, yeah, right. So I must have come back, yeah, from wherever I've been the weekend away, and my mum's like, yeah, I found
The
your
book
rap
gone.
She's like, there was loads of swearing in it. I'm like, yo, where's my books then? I threw them all away, ripped them up and threw them away.
No.
And I must have been at the time, maybe I was like 14 then or 13. So it was like 2 years worth of rhymes just gone, man.
Oh my
Like,
God.
yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's mad because like, even thinking back, like I think I remember discovering you. I think you did a SBTV, and I'm gonna say 10 years ago. It's got
Yeah,
to be 10
easily.
years plus, easy.
Yeah.
And I think then I thought, oh, okay, let me, because at the time as well, SBTV was like still is a big thing, but
Yeah.
then it was like watching TV. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
used to sit and watch it. So I think looking at you then and looking at you now, that transition, obviously as you get older, you evolve in anything in every walk of life. You just mature with age, mature with music. So how do you feel like that transition's been for you in terms of where you was then, what you was writing about then? You kind of self-entitled yourself a conscious rapper, but you've got different elements to yourself as well, because you're not just always conscious. You're always, you can go into a different room and hold your own in that room as well. Your music's quite versatile.
So like, yeah, like just going back in that time, yeah, I just was trying to fit into this box, man. I was trying to just do what I thought was the correct thing to do because I wanted to take this path I wanted to blow. Whereas now, the 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 thought process is I just want to have fun with music. Like I don't really care about the genre. I don't really care about tempo. I don't even care if you don't think I'm the best rapper. Like I'm trying to make the best music. I'm trying to have fun with music. So I don't really care if someone's like, oh yeah, that's not lyrical. Like to me, that's really not important. Like it's like, all right, cool. If you want to hear lyrical, I got some stuff you can go and listen to in it if you want to do that. But I think as I've grown up in music, I've changed the things that I think are important. The priority of what I do or how I prioritize what I do is very different than how it used to be. So I feel like that's the main difference of just kind of caring a hell of a lot less, caring less on what people think. I think that's really like yeah, I think that's it, man.
Yeah, no, I hear that, man. I hear that. And it's mad as well, because obviously we've been in lockdown for what feels like eternity, man. 3 weeks, 3 years, not 3 weeks, 3 years.
Yeah.
I remember last year, I think it was last year, it felt like he was dropping a project or a single at least every week. I remember
Yeah,
going
man.
on your Twitter, there was something out there, next thing, and it wasn't just a single, you'd have the visual to back it up as well. Like, was that just a conscious effort as well? Like to just make sure that obviously a lot of people in lockdown suffered in terms of not being able to perform and not like, because obviously I can see your mic there, you got your little your sort of setup that you got at home, man, as well. So it's easier to do that rather than having to go to the studio. You can just do it all there as well. So was that just a thing that you thought, right, I'm going to just put out as much music as possible in the space of 2 years?
Do you know what? Yeah. See, this is the thing. Being an independent artist, right? You're good in a lot of ways that you don't know you're good in. So let's back up a little bit. Yeah. So I've been doing my own production, own recording, mixing, mastering, videos, artwork, like editing, anything you could think of, I've been doing myself. So I'm in a position where I can do the whole thing from A to Z. I can get a project done it before. So it's the kind of thing where when lockdown hit, yeah, everybody was like, they couldn't go studio. They didn't have access to the mics. They didn't have access to the producers. They didn't have access to the studio. They didn't have access to the video people. All of that was gone, right? And they were panicking. I was calm. I'm like, I've been doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of them things where like, it's like almost like a apocalyptic world where the electricity's gone. There's no internet and like people can't go to the supermarkets. And I'm like, yo, I've been living in the forest. I've been living in the jungle, like
It's
with
your
fire.
normal.
And this is so easy for me. So I just thought, you know what? Let me just use this time to really gain some momentum and gain some ground. And that's what I used it for. So 2020, dropped dropped the Blurred album, and then I also did I think I did a, a deluxe version of The Creature from Beneath the Mainstream, dropped that as well.
I
I
forgot
think
about that.
yeah,
Shit.
like just you know
Yeah.
what I mean, just there,
Yeah.
the stuff was there, so it was like, yo, let's just take some time. And then coming up to 2021, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna drop a single every week. I think it was one of my boys, Mike, he must have put up a tweet and he said, yo, the hardest workers are these guys. I can't remember who he even put me with, but I just took that as offense. Like, don't put me with nobody, you know? Like, no one's working. Like, if you want to talk about hard workers and it's in music, like, you got to put me in a whole different category. So my thinking was, all right, cool. I'm gonna drop a track every week. Let's see who keeps up. Let's see who can drop some. You know what I mean, like who can do what I'm about to do. And the answer was nobody. So that was my mindset, and that's why, like, when I wrote did the song Power, the first line, don't mention them and me and work rate in the same sentence. Them and apprentice. I've been on vengeance. Jah Bless me since I made my entrance. Jah Bless was the first song. Like since I came in the game, I've been doing me, and I think sometimes I'm a kind of person. Yeah, I need that that negative push, even if it's a negative push I make up myself, even if it's like
Resistance.
I need that, man. So like that was part of it, just like, yo, these people really think they can mess with you, man. Like they're really just, you know what I mean? So that's what it was. And then coming to the end of the year, after I dropped 2 albums, and bearing in mind, yeah, I'm dropping a track every week, right? So that you would think the quality would dip, but if you listen to Vision and you listen to A Prophet in his hometown, you can like, I'm biased obviously, but you can't tell me where the quality dipped. Like, it did not dip. Like, we really went in on every single song. We really went in, not just on the production, but on like the features, on the content, on how things felt. Like, we were really doing this. So then by the time I got to the end of the year, and I still felt like I wasn't getting the respect that I thought I should get. And again, that comes with a little bit of entitlement as well, which you know what I mean, I would say you probably should never feel entitled. But at the same time, I was just like, let's say I don't feel entitled, but let me just be clear, none of you can mess with me. Let's just say that then. Let's just do that. And then I dropped the next, and that was the next thing. It was just like, I'm just gonna do this on a weekly basis with the visuals, and you get to see like what the quality is, man, and how I feel about what I do.
That's because there's not many artists that are dropping that much projects in 1 year as well. Like, normally the consistency is you'll get someone dropping like a couple singles, then they wait a couple months, drop the album. Do you know what I mean? And then that's what you hear from them. You don't hear from them again till the next year or the year after. But consistently doing that, and then dropping the bodies of work as well on top of those singles.
Yeah,
that's mad. That's mad when you think about it.
And it's mad because a lot of people, even when they do it, it don't hit the same way, man. Like Papoose is Papoose, yeah, and he dropped an album a month, I think he did. And Papoose can rap, but at the same time, some of them tracks, I was like, oh, come on, Pap, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
throwaways.
Yeah, like don't do throwaways. Like my throwaway tracks, I would say, yeah, that the last album to me was throwaway in a way, because I can't maximize off those songs because I can't get the sample clearance, or, you know what I mean, we're just stealing samples. And I would say those are like throwaway songs. But those are some of the songs that people message me like, yo, this is the best song I've ever heard from you. Like, this is the level of where things should be. This is the start. I got people messaging me like, yo, you're getting me back into rap. Like, I wasn't even listening to rap like that, but now this album is on, you know what I mean? I'm getting people that are pop stars, yeah, people that if I say names, yeah, they're mainstream pop artists, DMing me going, yeah, nah, I've been playing this nonstop, I can't stop playing this. And it's just like, yeah, all right, cool. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, I don't even really take it as like, oh yeah, thank you. I'm like, yeah, nah, blessed for that. But of course, like, I really do this. Like, I'm the chef out here. So it's like, to me, it's like, you're supposed to enjoy the cooking. Not because I'm super great, but I've been doing this a long time. Like, I know how food's supposed to taste. I know what music's supposed to be like on that level. So that's the kind of energy I have with it, man.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, man. One of the things that I wanted to ask was, what's your team like around you? Because I know a lot of the work you do yourself, but have you got like a team around you that you kind of bounce ideas off, or just, I don't know, man, what's the structure like underneath you?
Not really, man. Like, I would say this year, 2021 was the first time that there was what I would class as almost a team.
Mm.
And even when I say team, I mean it in a really loose way. Yeah. Like this is going to be very different only because I'm going for more, it means I need more, right? But going back to the last two projects, so Vision again was done. That's just all me, and then I got Shapes in to do some co-production. And so what Shapes would do, Shapes is an incredible producer, probably the best producer I've ever worked. No, 100% the best producer I've ever worked with, and he comes from a different area than me, a different space than me. So in his own right, he's a much bigger artist than me in his scene, yeah, and in any scene, like he really does the million streams business. So when I come with him with my like almost underground way of thinking, he'll drop, yeah, I like what you did there, but you need to add this, you need to change these drums, you need to add this bit, you need to have this break, and this is the way it should be. And to me, that's like invaluable because again, you're looking at things in a way that I can't see because I haven't been there before. Like he's DJing and performing to thousands. I'm not doing that. So again, when I go to him and go, yo, I got this track here that I want it to bang, and he's going, yeah, it bangs, but if you want to get it over it to the next level, you need to add this, you need to do that. So on Vision, he kind of came in, I'd say like it was almost like he would add like maybe 10% of what onto what I did. But then when we did A Prophet in His Hometown, I was he upped that up to like maybe 30-40%, where some of the beats he done like 50% of the beat, or the beat, if you hear the difference between the beats, you'll be like, that's night and day. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? What's the Jay-Z line? You made it a hot line, I made it a hot song. Like I would make it a nice little I mean, I'm thinking my track's banging. I'm like, yo, this is gonna blow. I send it to him. He'd mix and master, but then he'd change the beat, he'd do some different arrangement, he'd add some bits in here and there, and then he sent it back to me. I'm like, oh my days, like you're, you know what I mean? So going forward again, now we're talking about what we're doing in 2022. It's that same thing where as a production team, that's us, me and Shapes, that's the way it's always going to be. But then I've got some other people involved as well on the PR side of things, on the radio plugin side of things, on the SEO, like the analytics, that kind of thing. Because I feel like that's a part where a lot of people kind of fall down. A lot of us are good at music, but a lot of us ain't really good at the other stuff. So yeah, that's the bit that I kind of needed a bit more help on.
So then, like, because I'm just literally, as you were speaking then, I was looking at your discography because it's mad. I don't think people appreciate this. If you go on Apple, anyone listening, Apple, Spotify, all of that stuff, the catalog is mad. Like singles, albums, collaborations. That's one thing I want to ask actually, because you collaborate quite a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of independent artists out there who might not know how to network properly. Do you know what I mean? And it could just be a simple thing of going on Twitter, talking to that person who knows that person, or just directly talking to that person. But is that what's your process and how you do that? Do you just, obviously your circles, you've always got to put the groundwork in to be able to talk to certain people around that table. Do you know what I mean? It's not, you can't be just starting out and go and talk to the top people. Do you know what I mean? So how would you give some sort of advice to people that are starting out in the industry or trying to make themselves in the industry and networking? Because that's a key thing in music and people don't realize that.
Yeah, there's two levels I see to that. Yeah, because I feel like networking is really important, but a lot of people see networking is like, especially if you're just like, if you're not an industry person and you didn't come up in one of the industry schools or whatever where they're teaching you these kind of things, a lot of times people see networking as like kind of fake. And because we, like, a lot of our stuff comes from, we were making music with our friends, yeah, and that's gang, innit? Gang is gang, and we don't want no outsiders. And Drake said no new friends, so we don't want no new friends, right? If that's you, that's cool. Yeah, that, I mean, what's gonna work for you? And there's a lot of guys, a lot of crews that I see that make music in their circle, and it works because they just make music in their circle. And it's like you kind of go, yeah, now that's your, you know what I mean, it is what it is. But then even saying that, if you look at the top guys in those crews, they will collab with some of the biggest artists out there. So to me, again, that shows me that is collaborations outside of your circle are really important if you want to level up. To me, networking is really just being cool, man. Just like being cool and have something to offer. Like it ain't got to be like, you can't always be like, yo, I'm trying to get something from somebody. Like because I want to do a track with whoever, and I'm trying to buddy up with them because I just want a track from them. It can't be that way. Or I'm trying to get a beat from them. It can't be that way. And to be fair, I don't think most people are. People can see through that. So if you're trying it, it's probably not going to work that way anyway. So I would say, like, as far as trying to find, if there is someone, you know what, I'm gonna break it down as 3 ways. So there's the networking way, cool. Then there's the industry way where you just go, yo, my management is gonna holler at your management, and we'll just go from there. But on the split side of that second part, you have to be in a position for it to work both ways. So unless you're either signed or you got the money, you're not gonna get that. And sometimes, even if you got the money, it's not going to work the way you think it's going to work because they're not going to promote it on their side of things. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to get their fans. No, you're not going to get their fans unless they are one of the biggest artists ever. It's not going to work that way. And like, there's only you see it with like like Drake. All right, so Drake does a song with what's his name, Block Boy. That track, crazy, biggest track out, right? Cool. But then what happens next? Like, where does he go next as that artist, right? So you kind of got to be able to capitalize off that and have more than just a feature. Like you really need to build who you are as an individual for them to like really go with you. There's certain artists I've heard on other people's music and be like, oh my god, that guy was sick. I'm gonna go check that person out, see what else they got. Again, it's in this day and age, it's a hard thing to do. Another thing I was talking about recently as well, yeah. Just because you want to do a track with the biggest artists, you kind of got to make sure that you are prepared for that. Like you have space for that, because a lot comes with those other artists. You might do a track. Say you can afford to do the track. You've done the track. They sent the verse over, yeah. You want to do a single now. You need to make sure that you got a budget big enough to accommodate when they come through to do the video. Because they're not, if you say to them, yo, I'm gonna do a little video, boom, but you know what I mean, where you doing a video? My boys got a camera. We're gonna no, we ain't doing that. You know what I mean? Certain guys will do that. Certain guys will be like, no, it's got to look. Everything's got to be patterned. It has to be right. So the I guess the way to put it, yeah, is like you might want a Rolls Royce, right? And I say, all right, cool, I'm gonna give you a Rolls Royce right now. All right, where are you gonna park that? Like you can't park it outside your yard because you know what I mean. Insurance is gonna. Can you even afford the insurance? What about that's a you know I mean, like an 8-liter engine or whatever? Can you even afford to do petrol with that? Like there's so much stuff that comes with comes with it. So it's like you kind of have to think about that when you're going with bigger artists, and it's like the fight game, man. You can't just a fighter can't just say I want to fight the champion. Now you got to work your way up to that. And when I was younger, I never got that. I just thought because if somebody liked me or liked my music, I could just holler at them and be like, yo. You know what I mean? And it's only now that I kind of realize I'm like, okay, I see what it is, and my conversations are different with them. You know what I mean? Like I just and just kind of show that little bit of understanding and respect that no, if we can do it, then let's do it. But I understand if we can't do it. You know what I mean? So
I think that's what it's like. Obviously, everyone's got their own different perspective of what the music industry is, but you know, there's sometimes where even myself, when I've done a bit of music and I've sent beats over to someone and they've gone, oh yeah, I like it, and then they just dive, they don't get back to me, or they get back to me, they record it, and then it doesn't come out. But then that's just part of the business. Like some people just don't want to use that, or some people might. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't. I think you got to be. You got to separate like your feelings from the business. Do you know what I mean? And just 100%. Understand. Sometimes people just don't want to fuck with the music that you're making.
And sometimes it ain't even sometimes it ain't even that. Sometimes it's a label thing, especially when you're working with, like if you're working with an independent artist, then that independent artist is in a position to kind of do whatever they want, right? I remember actually one time doing a song with who was it with, man? I think it was Dream McLean, yeah. So I think this was like going back like 2008 or something, and then he messaged me and was like, yeah, that song we did, you can put it out, but like don't like say it was done earlier, say it was done before, innit? And I can't really promote it because like my management and label and whatever. And I was like, what? So say
it was before his deal, you mean?
So before the deal. Yeah. So I'm like, what? Like, and I was like, come on, man. Like, I'm a big man. Man can never tell me what to do. Like, I can't put a song out and this, that, and the third.
Right.
And like, you know what I mean? And I was like, come on, bro, you acting like a punk out here, yeah? But then that's what I was saying in my head. I didn't say that to his face, but I was like, damn, bro. But at the same time, I was like, now I realize it way more. Like, oh, no, like, to be fair, he did me a super favor. He did me a super solid. Like, he shouldn't have done what he did, but he did the verse for free as well. Like, it wasn't like, yo, I paid for this and you're not let me use it. He was like, nah, do you know what, man? I mess with you. I like the track. Yo, let's do it. And unfortunately, the way the business is, like, I can't just be doing stuff like that, because every time I do a verse, I've got to run it by management. I've got to run it by the label so that they get their cut. You have to understand that the verses is the product. Like, that's the commodity now. That's how we make our money. We can't be giving out verses for free, because that's how we make our money. True. And I've seen that with bare other artists. I've seen it with I think Nova did a track with N Dubs. Who else has got songs, like big songs? Who am I thinking of? There's another guy who's got a track with Ed Sheeran. Like, and it did come out, but they just couldn't push it. Like, the label weren't pushing it. So it's like, you have crazy, like, you have a track with like the biggest artists, but because the biggest artists don't push it, it don't do what you think it would do. And that's the game, man.
It's crazy, man. But you touched on a good point. I was going to bring this up because you're independent. Obviously, there's a lot of pros to that as well. But we'll touch on that first, actually. So the independent route is what a lot of people are going for now, because obviously creative control. You ain't got to pay no one else to do nothing. You speak to yourself. You're your own boss. How do you find that? Because I'm sure you've been in meeting rooms with major labels, big labels, and they've probably put something on the table to get you to entice you or whatever. What's been your decision to always stay independent and take that journey?
I say this, man. Like, I say two things. I never sold my soul to the devil, because the devil never wanted it. So I've never been offered like anything crazy enough for me to be like, yeah, that's cool. So I can't sit here and be like, yeah, I turned down this, I turned down that. That never happened. No one's ever offered me anything that was like, that I thought was worth going for. So all the deals that I've been offered have always been just like either small development deals, or especially coming up. Like when I was I'm talking about the last, maybe the last time I got offered a good deal would have been maybe last year before.
Okay.
And again, I was in a different place. So when I was younger, I might even have taken that deal, but I was in a different place. The second thing I want to say is, people say, yeah, everyone's going independent, but to be fair, you're independent by default. So when you start, you're independent.
Facts.
You have no choice. And also, a lot of people that are independent, again, have no choice. This is just what we are, and that's where I was for a long time. Coming off my first deal, which to me wasn't even a deal. It was just a situation where it's kind of, you're almost a kind of like sponsorship. Like, they're going to pay for some stuff, but I never got an advance, and never made any money off either of those deals, the single deal or the album deal. So to me, it was like, that don't really count, even though they paid for some stuff. I think that it's cool being independent. Like you said, you're in charge of everything you do. Unfortunately, you have to pay for everything you do as well. So it all comes out of your pocket. A lot of people talk about, yo, I own 100% of my music, but 100% of nothing is nothing. So if your masters ain't worth anything, then who cares, innit? Like, and there is a balance, man. And there's two things you see. You see the thing where guys who are signed to a label try to get out of that deal. So I don't need to mention names. We've seen that a lot. You've seen guys who were in deals and who are really, really successful, but their deal isn't the greatest. So they kind of got to do a lot more than most people would at that stage. So when you look at the difference between Drake and Kendrick, that's where you see the difference. Drake worked a lot. Drake put out a lot of music, did a lot of shows, a lot of touring, because Drake's deal was cut down, like bust down 4 different ways. So it's like, all right, cool. For every million you make, you're only getting 250 of that, and then you got to pay everybody. Then you still got to pay fees on top of that and your taxes.
Yeah.
So the millions don't look the same. Whereas Kendrick, again, you're only really going through 2 labels, TDE and Interscope, whoever that's bust down, but it's broken down in a different way. So it means I can sell less, I can work less, and I can still make as much as I need. You know what I mean? So there's all that kind of stuff to kind of consider. One of the things I've been able to do as an independent artist is really just kind of study my own analytics and figure out, like, how do you make money? Like, how do you live off what you're doing? And I feel like that's kind of like that's the goal, right? The goal is to be a full-time artist, and I've been a full-time artist since 2006. And I came into that by accident, because that's when the mix CDs, everyone said they mix CDs on the street. And I just thought, oh, that's a little way to make a little bit of money, not realizing that's a way to make a lot of money. And then that kind of held me over until I kind of got my next situation and figuring out, yo, how about this merch game? Like, how does that work? And then CDs disappeared, and then they came back. Like, oh, people want to buy CDs again. People want to buy vinyl again. So it's like really trying to figure that out. Like ticket sales, like, okay, I can get £500 to go to someone's set and perform, or I can hire my own venue, get my own people in, pay people to perform, and pay myself the rest. You know what I mean? So it's like figuring. There's all these different ways of figuring out, like, where does the money get made and how can I make the money? And one of the things you learn is, yo, I don't even need to have like I don't need to have like millions of fans. I just need a few, like, again,
core fan base.
That's it. So all of that stuff is like is the lesson, and it's cool. Like, some people don't want to do that. I was talking to someone recently, and they were like, "Yeah, I've been sitting on loads of music, man. Like, I love making music, but I hate the putting it out part. I hate the, like, you know what I mean, the Instagram posts, the interviews, all that other stuff. But to me, that's part of the hustle. That's part of the game. So I've learned to love it. Like, I love looking at stats. Like, I love looking at analytics, man. That stuff to me is like, I don't know. It's fun to me. It's almost as fun as making the music. Like, I love that side of things, because that shows you, like, your progression. Like, to be able to say, yo, my views are up 62%. Like, my streams are up 150%. All that kind of stuff. I'm like, cool, we're moving in the correct way. We're moving in the correct.
Shows that progress. Shows the progress of what you're doing, and it gives you that incentive to carry on.
Yeah, man. Because I feel like there were years where, like, sorry, this mic keeps falling, man. This thing's broken.
It's common.
There were years where I didn't, because I wasn't watching that stuff. Yeah, I didn't progress how I should have, because I wasn't focused on. I'll tell you what, I was focused on, like, being the best rapper and making the best songs, but that's all I was focused on. I wasn't focused on the business. So there are years where I left money on the table because the attitude was different as well. It was like, yo, man, we do this for the love, man. It ain't about the money, it's for the love. And it's like, yeah, you're gonna love yourself out of your yard, bruv. Like, you're gonna love yourself into being homeless. So literally, yeah, like, there has to be a time where you go, yo, we need to start making some money from this. And my wife is like a really big part of that, because I'm a dreamer and she keeps me grounded. She'll be like, yeah, nah, go do your dreaming, yeah, but I'm gonna wake you up when these bills need to be paid. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, I hear that.
It gives you like a really good balance. And then yeah.
Talk to us about the latest project. None of You Can With Me.
So that just came from, again, being frustrated, man. I think it started from a tweet, man. Like, a lot of times I'm just, things go from my head and I'll just tweet it and see what the response is. And I said to everyone, yo, I'm gonna call my next album this, and everyone was like, yeah, go for it. And then, like, one of my ex manager, I must have messaged her and was like, what do you think? She's like, you have to do that. So I was like, all right, cool. It seems a bit, I don't know, man. I was like, because when I wrote it, I was in one of them moods, innit? When I'm just like, nah, man, none of you can miss that. I'm on it here. And then a couple of days later, I'm like, shit, nah, these guys are cool, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if I want to come with that energy, man.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It just kind of it started really high. Then I kind of lost the idea, like the love for that title. But I was still making the music, and then it just kind of creeped back in, and then it just made perfect sense. And then it was just like, yeah, this is what it's going to be, because it really does encapsulate how I feel right now. And I need some more of that, man. I need some more of a closed mouth don't get fed. Like, I got to speak. Like, I got a story in it, and the story's not getting told. And the reason the story's not getting told is because I'm not pushing it. Because I've always been a kind of person that's just like, nah, the music's gonna do the talking. But the fact of the matter is, the music don't do the talking, man. Like, the talking does the talking. And
Facts.
We've seen it in this game, man. It's like you can have some of the best music out there, but because you're not a person who's like out there on social media or whatever, the antics, or you ain't doing the antics, yeah, you just get overlooked. And I'm at a point now where I'm just like, I need to, if I feel something, I have to speak it, and I might have to be more pushy than I would be, than I'm comfortable with. Because I'm a calm guy, man. Like, I'm not like on music I get rowdy, yeah, but in real life, yeah, for the most part, I'm just cool in it. Like, I'm never the guy who's like trying to start beef and that kind of stuff. Like, that's never been me. But at the same time, in this meta universe that we're in, it's like you have to be louder, man. Like, you have to make noise, or you will get overlooked. And I can't afford to be overlooked, man.
No, 100%, man. And it's on Bandcamp. So anyone who's listening or watching, I'm going to drop the link in the description, but make sure you check that out as well. It's on Bandcamp. But I wanted to talk to you about the clothing, the merch.
Yeah.
Because that's something that you touched on earlier. Yeah, there we go. And what got you into that? Because obviously it's very similar to the music world, but at the same time as well, it's a different hustle as well. So tell us about the clothing line as well.
So that started originally. The idea started in 2008, I think.
Right. Okay.
Which is when I first had the idea, and it was supposed to be a mixtape that came with it, and then the mixtape didn't happen. We lost the hard drive, man. So we lost like a whole man. There's a killer. That was a
keep losing shit, man.
Like crazy.
Lost your books.
Lost the book. I'm telling you, man. I think I've got like there's 4 times in my life where I've lost like a whole bunch of music.
Man.
Yeah, it hurts, man. But I had the idea for the brand, because it kind of went with like what we were doing at the time. We were selling CDs in the street at the time, so that was like the thing in it. And like designed my boy AC. We designed the logo, and then at the time I was using like these print to order services. So it means like you don't have to put any money in, but they just print your stuff for you. So I did that and didn't do too well really, because I would only make like £2 or £3 a t-shirt, I think at the time. It might even be less than that, man. It was crazy anyway. But so again, I wasn't really incentivized to really push it. Came into a point, I think I might have got like a tax rebate or something, yeah, and I had some money. And this is the time I'm broke as well, yeah. So like getting a tax rebate was like the
Christmas come
man,
early.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I must have put up a message. This is Facebook days. Yo, I'm getting some t-shirts printed. Who wants t-shirts? Like, this is my hustle t-shirts. And this is the I miss these days, man. Facebook organic reach. Like, I swear, if I had Facebook organic reach today, I'd be a millionaire by the end of the year. Easy. I'm telling you, it was crazy. So you would post something and everybody would see it. Every one of your followers would see that. So that kind of changed the game for me then, yeah, because what had happened, I said, yo, who wants to check these t-shirts? And we're like, yeah. So then I bought the t-shirts and they sold out real quick, and then just kept on repeating that, man. So like I would do like, I think the first runs we would do would be like 50 t-shirts, and then they would go, then do another 50 different colors, they would go, then started doing hoodies, and then they would go. And it was just like, it was building like that. And then it got to a point where it's still now, like the merch makes way more money than the music. So like, that's the kind of thing you're kind of going to be more focused on.
Yeah.
But then like so this is 2012. So 2012 times, or 2011, let's say 2011, I was really pushing it. We were doing fashion shows, pop-up shops, like loads of stuff. Unfortunately, I kind of got burnt out on the idea, because even though I love the idea of owning a clothing line, fashion's not my passion, innit? Like, it's not really the thing that wakes me up,
Yeah, yeah.
keeps me up at night. It's music. I love music. So then I kind of took a break off that. We used to have people I used to work with it, like got rid of everybody and was just like, nah, I'm just going to do this myself, because I just want it to be a little bit smaller for now, because
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to focus on music. So from then until now, that's what it's been. It's been quite a small thing. The original idea, the reason why it was called This Is My Hustle and not like Genesis Elijah Wear or something, was because you remember Star in the Hood?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So Star in the Hood was really like my kind of like the plan. So I always thought, yeah, like at the moment, people like Genesis Elijah, but there's going to be a time when Genesis Elijah is not cool, and I want to have something that goes past me. That's not just about me, and I can build it separate from me, and that's how it's been, man. I remember seeing a guy wearing my hat one time, and I'm like, oh shit, the hat.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
thought like he'd be like, oh, jealous. He was just like, who are you? Why are you staring at my hat for? And like, and it was sick. Like, to me, that was the moment I was like, yes, like I've gone past just my friends and people that know
yeah.
Genesis
It's
Elijah
wider
wearing it.
reach now.
Yeah, man. And that's kind of how it's grown. I think at some point we'll go back, because at the moment it's not a limited company anymore. So I'll close the company. It's not a limited company. I'm just back to being a sole trader. But at one point it was a big company, man. Or not a big company, but it was something I was planning to really
Build.
and be the main thing. And I think at some point I will go back to that again, but not with me being the front man for it. Because there's so much. It's so involved, man. It's so involved. It's not something you can really do part-time. It's a full-time job.
For commitment.
Yeah, 100%. And even now, like I said, it's not a big thing, yeah. But every day I've got to send out packages. So every day I've got to go to the post. Like my post op, they know me like so well, because I'm there all the time. Like I'm there every other day. I'll be at the post office sending stuff. And if you don't like that kind of stuff, it's not for you.
Yeah,
and
I don't do post office, man.
Nah,
If I sell something on like eBay or something, I've got to force myself to get the post office just so I don't get the bad feedback. But
it's so long. It's so long, man.
And the packaging as well, man.
Super long, all that stuff. Like I hate
people don't see the side of it though. They just see the thing turn up. They just see the goods turn up, but they don't see all the process, the design, the production, the packaging, the sending it off.
Exactly.
The labeling, all of that stuff. No, man.
And it takes up space as well. Like I'm still this ain't a big flat. So if you get a box of hoodies, that's taken up. Like my wife's always cussing. Like, where are we gonna put this? It's like, it's tough, man.
No, I hear that, man. Just before we wrap up, but what's in store for you 2022? Obviously, you got the album out already, you got the project there, but what can we expect from you as well?
I think there'll be more music, man. There'll be more music. It's going to be way less than it was last year. I think I'm probably only going to do maybe 2 singles this year. And I might do some re-releases, some deluxe versions of Vision and Prophet in His Hometown. I might do vinyl versions with some extra tracks. So I might do that. But as far as like new music, I'm kind of just really sitting back and taking my time with it. Because last year was really an exercise in how much can we do. And we proved, man, like me and Shapes, we proved that if you give us a week, man, we can give you gold in it. Because
100%.
He's got the beats, I got the ideas, we're gonna do something. But then the idea is like, now it's like, okay, how about if we instead of giving ourselves a week, how about if we give ourselves 2 months? Like, what can we do in 2 months? Like, what can we do if we really just sit back and really try to craft something next level? Like, and not just like on the music side of things, but on the promotion side of things. Like, when you're promoting a track every week, I would forget what tracks were like, what happened. I'd be like, wait, what week is this? Yeah, I'm putting out. No, wait, I did that already. Oh, it's this one. Yeah. And like people, what's your I love your new track, man. I'd be like, what new track do you love?
Which one?
I don't know. Yeah, like I have no idea what you're talking about. So
yeah,
it would be cool to just be able to go, no, we're just focusing on this song. And the money we put into all the music last year, how about we just bust that down in a way where we're just putting that into a couple of tracks. So how much more can we do? Because we had some good wins, man. We got a couple of playlist placements. A couple of the videos did pretty well.
Adverts.
Yeah, like that stuff. Yeah, like so it's like, all right, cool. Well, how can we bring all of that together to a point where we've got a really good song, we put a lot of money into it to get it where it needs to be, and it's ready to go. If it needs to get licensed to an advert or a movie, it's there as well. And again, like for us, for me, definitely that's where the money is anyway. So the money is always coming in the licensing. Like that's the big ticket. So I only really need 4 of them a year, and I'm good. So
yeah, 100%.
How do we keep that up, that momentum, and build relationships as well? Like how do we build relationships with the people that we're working with now? So I've got a little situation with the Mobos where they're doing a lot of artist development. So how do we kind of really cultivate those relationships in a way where it's symbiotic, man, where we're giving as much as we're getting? Like how do we like really just taking time with things, man, and really just being what's the word? Intentional. Really being intentional about what we're doing. Like how do we got goals, man. We got real big goals, and yeah, how do we do that rather than just being everywhere? Like we did that last year. Cool. You can make loads of songs. Bravo. All good. But how do we make a real impact? Like how do we make a real impact where we're I'm a global artist. Like it's no longer just local.
Step up.
Yeah, step that up, man, and use the stuff, use the knowledge, like apply the knowledge. What did you learn last year? Like if you learned something, then yeah, let's use that, man.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. I'm looking forward to the year, man. Obviously, you're consistent with it, so I know that whatever you're gonna drop, it's gonna be A star, top tier stuff, man. It's not gonna be some condensed, watered down. Let's just throw it out because we want to throw something out. It's, do you know what I mean? It's gonna be consistent, man. And I think that's what. Like I said, I remember the SBTVs. I remember you doing SBTVs before people knew what SBTVs were. Do you know what I mean? The bodies of work. I think, yeah, Visions, man. Visions has got the instrumentals as well. I think there's an instrumental version that obviously I'm an instrumental guy. So come on. Do you know what I mean? Like I love things like that. So just to be able to listen, obviously I love the lyrics, but sometimes I just need to hear the production as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on, man. And
Thank you, brother.
let the people know where your socials are, where they can find you as well.
I'm easy to find as long as you can spell, man. Just Genesis Elijah. Google me. Everything will come up. You got Twitter, Instagram. I got TikTok. I don't really use it, but I got it.
Not on that.
Yeah, I got to use it more, man. I got to use it more, but I'm too like stuck in my ways, man. But
yeah, same, man.
Yeah. They had meetings with management last week, and they were like, "Yeah, so you know what I mean? Like, what can you do in TikTok stuff? Like, we want to try and get you viral on TikTok." And I was like, that sentence made me feel a bit sick, man. Like, I don't like. Let me do my music. If it happens, it happens. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I'm everywhere, man. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, but I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, brother.
Like I said, I'll put all the links to everything in the description. New album, put that in the description as well. It's on Bandcamp as well, so make sure you support that. So I like the fact it's on Bandcamp. It's not on Spotify and Apple because we all know about the way that they treat artists on there as well. Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy, man.
It's
and
mad.
you know what? Next thing I say as well, yeah, like Bandcamp is something I hadn't really thought about using before, but I was forced to use Bandcamp on this project because I couldn't get the samples cleared.
Right.
And we made more money in 1 week than we did in a whole year from streaming.
I can imagine. Like, plus more.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just like, all right, maybe we should kind of do a bit more of this. Like, even if it's just for the first week or 2 weeks, it should be Bandcamp exclusive, just to kind of fund anything else we're doing. Because yeah, it was crazy. And again, I didn't even think this album would even. I didn't make it for it to do numbers. I literally did it for me. So yeah,
100.
Mad one.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on. We're gonna have to get you back on, man, because I've enjoyed this one. This is cool, brother. Been a special one, man.
Listen, man, I'm here, man.
But yeah, this has been the Ear to the Streets podcast. Myself, T. Genesis, Elijah. Thank you very much for joining me. Until next time, stay safe out there, man. It's a COVID world. Stay safe, man. They're trying to destroy us, man. Stay safe.
For real.